All right, so you guys are going to be making a color chart specifically with your primary colors, but please like expand that using if you got the green or the magenta or the purple, whatever other colors that you have, but really, really want you to focus on your red, blue, and yellow because those colors can basically mix everything, and I find if you start to introduce a bunch of colors, you can get pretty overwhelmed. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, just focus on these primary colors. But if you've been painting for a bit, or you're feeling ambitious and more confident, go on and add those extra colors in. First thing I'll say, you're gonna open up your visual journal. That way you have 2 full pages to paint on. That way your color chart can be a decent size. And it doesn't really matter what color you start with, but I'm gonna just start with yellow. And my white's over here, so I'm gonna take a scoop of that. There we go. And I want to apply this color as is first, so I can know exactly what yellow I'm working with. So obviously that's my yellow. And then I'm going to slowly mix white in. And we already kind of went over our tints, shades, and tones. So when we add white, that is a, hopefully you said tint. So you could even use a little bit more. I just want to show how light I can get. We're almost white. It's like white, but it's tinted yellow. That's how I like to remember that. So we're going from yellow to white, AKA our tint. I'm gonna clean off my brush. I'm gonna do the same thing with black this time. So I'm gonna make a new pile of yellow. And I'm gonna slowly add my black in. So just a tiny bit will go a long way. That black's really gonna start overpowering my yellow pretty quickly, and that's why it's nice to kind of do some bigger squares so you can still see some of that. And this is our black, also known as our shade. Clean off my brush really good this time. And then we need to do the tone, which is gray. So I take some white, a little bit of black, mix those two together so I get my gray. And I'm gonna slowly add my yellow in. Now, this time, since I'm adding the yellow in slowly, I'm going to start on this side. That way it gets more yellow. Just trying to stay consistent, that way it's easier for me in the long run. So So this time we're adding gray, and that would be our tone. Okay. Next, we're gonna add the complementary color. This is where you can use that purple you already have, or you could mix a purple. Either way works. So if I wanted to mix a purple, kind of the same way that I went with the gray, I'm gonna mix the purple first. Pretty nice. Like I said, if you already have purple, you could do it that way too. And this time, let's start with the yellow. Well, I guess we're starting with the purple because that's pretty dark. So again, I'm working the opposite way. Showing that spectrum there. Can even get darker. And then I'm gonna keep adding yellow. That kind of turned out to be the same, so that means I need to get a little heavier with my ratios. Oop, trying to get brown. That's a good sign. A little bit more. Clean my brush this time. I kind of mix these two together. Here comes that yellow again, showing through. I'll do one more. So when you add the complementary color, it's gonna desaturate both colors. So this purple's desaturated and the yellow is less vibrant than what it was. So this is plus purple. That's its complementary. Clean it off again. And this time we're gonna add blue. Some more yellow over here. So tiniest bit of blue into our yellow. That blue is gonna be really strong right away. So I might even go back and grab a little more yellow. All right, there we go. You can notice I'm slowly making these bigger as they get more interesting. A little bit more blue. Wow, changes fast. A little bit more. I'm gonna really go crazy. You start getting such a nice kind of that minty green color that we normally have. All the way to basically blue, because then we don't have to do this again because we already did it. So now I don't have to go from blue to yellow because I already did it here. So this time I'm gonna go yellow. To blue. And that goes in both directions, which makes green And you don't have to label it the way I'm labeling it, but it can be helpful. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing with red. So I do need some more yellow. I'm getting paranoid because last time I recorded this and I made it all the way through, and then I realized that it was in slow-mo the whole time. So that was pretty annoying. Okay. That's okay though, practice makes perfect. So this time, red really overpowers yellow. Grab some of this, put it over here. Grab a tiny bit of red. Mixy, mixy, mixy. A little bit more. And that red just takes over. It's so strong. All right. And there we go. That is our yellow to red. And in between makes orange. Okay, have that. So now would be the time, like if you wanted to do those other colors like that purple or another shade of green like that came out of the bottle and not mixed, you could. But I want to see with a limited palette kind of how many colors I can make. And so I already started my reds. So I could keep going with that. Let's see. Kind of, yeah, maybe do like red and red with black. See if I can fit both of those in. So start with our pure red. Yes, I'm not gonna make it as big because okay. Red with a little bit of white. Up and down, I kind of like the pattern I'm making. Red with a little bit more white. And sometimes you kind of have to start making new piles next to it. Ooh, I love that pink. I'm gonna just keep going with this. Okay, that wasn't as big of a transition as I wanted. Grab even more, because again, this is our tint, and so we want a white that's basically just kind of tinted red. And so I'm even gonna wash off my brush so I can get a really nice one where it's just so light. There. A little streaky, but that's okay. And then this is red to white. Let's do a big yellow sign there and big red sign here. Like I said, organize this however you want. This is our tint, which means plus white. And then we'll do black. So let's start with our red. Add the tiniest bit of black. Oh, even that looks a little strong. Go back a little red. Don't be afraid to kind of mix a new pile if you need to. There we go. Oh, such a beautiful color. So that just shows you that difference there. Oh boy. Okay, now we can go one darker. See, I kind of wiped it away, so. And this is when it's nice again to have those little bit of bigger squares, because when it spreads out a bit, now I can still tell that that's not black. I don't know if you can see that on the camera as much, but I can still see a difference. And even so, my black just looks like more, like gives more depth with the red, which I love. So that's nice to have. Instead of using straight black, adding a little red into it, all of a sudden just, like I said, gives a lot of black. So this is our shade again. That's plus black. Okay, we're gonna keep our reds down here, and then I think we'll put our blues up there maybe. That way it doesn't start clashing everywhere. So next is the tone. Where's my brush? There we go. So we need to mix some gray. There's already a tiny bit of red in that, which is just fine. And since we're gonna be adding red into our gray, I'm gonna start on this side, because I wanna keep like the purest colors or the most saturated versions on this end, and transitions over here. So that way it's like the yellows and then they slowly transition into something else. Okay. Yeah, starting over here. Slowly add a little red. Kind of get a mauve color. A little bit more. It's harder doing this backward. But it's just because I didn't want to clean my brush. Mix a whole lot of paint. This time it should be getting more saturated every time till we're kind of back to a nice red color. Not that the other colors aren't nice. So again, this is our tone, which is plus gray. So it's kind of nice to like add that just so you know what this other color was. If you're not doing like a full spectrum, you know, you could do pure red every time and then like that neutral tone we started with. So that's an option. Okay, then we already have red and yellow. Oh, we need the complementary next. So that would go here. Our complementary is green. Again, you can mix the green, which is blue and yellow. I already have some green on my palette, so I'm just gonna use that, but you can always mix your own. Just make sure you have more yellow than blue, because like we said, that color just like takes over right away. So anyways, I got a little bit. Okay, take a scoop of our red, a little bit of green in it. I feel like that was too much. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna keep adding some green, which is gonna give us a really nice color. And we did this during our in-class painting that we did all together because we didn't have any black. And so you can basically mix your own black with like red and green. Like you basically don't even need black. And you like can see the difference. This is the red plus black, this is the red plus green. And I just prefer this a little bit more. But that can be up to personal preference. So add even more. Because this time I do want it to start turning back to green. That way I don't have to like mix my greens again or do another line of green into red. So, there we go. Like one more. Way I really can tell that it's green. That's my green with a little red in it. So this is red to green. And these are complementary colors. Okay, cool, did that. And then like I said, I already have my red and my yellow, but I don't have my blue and my red. So I do need to add that. I'll do that next. I'm gonna just clean my brush a little bit more to get that green out of there. I have a little bit more red over here. There. And this time we're adding a tiny touch of blue. We'll go up and down this time. Ooh, very pretty magenta color. A little bit more blue. And again, we're gonna go all the way to blue. Okay, that one a little fast. I'm gonna add just a touch of red back in. Like I said, a little quick there. Okay. Now I'll add the blue back in. There, that's like that perfect middle purple. Nice balance of both. More blue. Really make sure you mix well when you do this. It does make a difference. And then I'm gonna just take a little red and mix it into my blue this time. There, something like that. This is red to blue, and in between is our purple. Perfect, perfect, perfect. What is next? I think now we're transitioning into our blues. Yeah, transition into our blues. So we would want, which way was I doing it? Because we're working backward. We already have blue and yellow. We have blue and red now. So I think we want our complementary color next. The complementary for blue is orange, because if we look at our color wheel and we find our blue, I can spin it to my blue and it points to orange. So those two are complementary. And I do not have an orange, so I do have to mix that one. And I know what that orange is gonna look like because I have my oranges kind of over here, right? And so I kind of want like this one. I feel like that's a good middle one. Otherwise it starts getting too red. So I need a good amount of yellow. And let's start with a tiny bit of red. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And right away, I'm gonna add the smallest bit of blue in. Right away, that changes my orange kind of to a fall orange, like an autumn orange. And I'm working this way because I want my blue over here. Again, I'm just being like picky with this. You definitely don't need to be, but you're gonna be the one using it, so. And this one's probably not gonna be as long as the other ones because it's not a full transition. Like we did here, red to blue. This is our complementary colors instead. Well, I guess it kind of is adding orange, but they're, yeah. What am I adding? Blue, yes. I was like, where am I? I'm like, I have so many colors now. So now we're starting to get new shades of green that are more sappy compared to these ones. These greens are a lot brighter, kind of like an alien green. Here you're gonna get some more natural greens because again, the colors are desaturated. So I have that and I'm adding more blue. Running out. And then we start getting into this like desaturated blue color. Last one. Kind of get a nice like deep turquoise. Ooh, I really like that. Yeah, and then you can kind of see the difference between these two where it's just the yellow versus the orange. And yeah, like what difference it makes adding that red in, because this is orange. So, but I mixed it so I can put yellow plus red. Just like this green, technically I should put, you know, that came out of the bottle. This was a deep green. I didn't mix that green. So it's good to make notes of those things. I think I'm gonna add like orange, even though I have it over there. I feel like I want it in there. Just at the end there. Just being a perfectionist, that's all. My brush is still a little dirty, so I'm still getting like a nice, like, ooh, that's so pretty. Right over the text. Doesn't really matter. And this was blue. Yeah, I feel like the lines are starting to mess me up a little bit. But like I said, do it how you need it to make sense. Okay, we did complimentary. And then I need to do my tone, my tint, and my regular blue. So I'm gonna go back up to the top and I'm gonna go for regular blue. Let's see if I have enough white left. I don't think I do. White is gonna be the color that you go through the most. Or the paint tube, I guess. Okay. We're gonna start with a regular blue. And again, if your blue is like ultramarine blue, or whatever, if it's primary blue, you should write that on there. Then we're gonna add a little bit of white. A little bit more. Okay, probably need to add more white than I'm doing. Be a bit more generous with that white. That way it makes a difference. There we go. Even more. Ooh, that got darker. It's about the same now. This is also a really good value study too. And then this time I'm gonna just like wipe off my brush and go for the white and make a new pile. That way we get a nice tint, just like the name. So this is plus white, AKA our tint. Even go take it one step farther, I feel like. Let's see. Uh-oh, I got a little yellow in there. Yep, that's what happens when you don't wash your brush good. Should be even more white than that. Uh-oh, it's turning gray now. There, good enough. I didn't even have to add that last one. I'm just being picky. Okay. And then we want to do blue with a tiny bit of black. I might even have to add more blue than that. That black is so strong. We have to be aware of those ratios. All right. I have lots of room. A little more black. Start getting a good navy color. Might have been a little too dark. No, it's just fine. Like I said, it's really nice when you add some blue into your black to give it some depth and dimension. Really gonna clean that off. feel like I need just the tiniest bit more blue. But we almost have all the colors on there. Now, like I said, you could make another page with like the purple and green and do the tints, tones, and shades with that. Totally just put that in the wrong spot on my palette. That's okay. Okay. Now, to make the tone, we need, let's see where to go. White, a little bit of black, mixy, mixy, mixy. And if I wanted to just show my gray, be like, look at how nice my gray is, Miss Holland. There we go, just the gray. Little bit of blue. Where did my gray go? Uh-oh, there we go. And then we can kind of see the difference between the two, which is nice. Where's my blue? There it is. Oh, my blue. Oh, it's over there. Mix it all together and you know you got the best of both worlds. Pictures and autographs. The best part is that get your face in all the magazine. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Nobody asked for that. Should be getting more blue every time. Until we're back to our regular blue. All right, so we got the plus black, which is our shade. So you can think black, shadow, shade, and then plus gray, which is our tone. You can think of maybe like toned paper if you're still struggling to remember those. Oh yeah, and I need to add a little blue sign over here. I think I'm gonna just put it over on this side. There we go, and an arrow. So now we got our red, our yellow, and our blue.